You know what? I'm just putting it on Do Not Disturb. Sorry about that. All right. Good morning, you guys. Happy New Year. Glad to see you guys have made it for today's class. I hope your year is getting off to a great start. We are in my actual home kitchen today, which is, I get a lot of things done here. We're having some deep cleaning done at the urban kitchen before we get back into our school sites that start on Monday. So let's just get into it. So today we're going to be making one of my favorite dishes. I actually made it over the holiday break. So I thought it'd be a great dish to start off with, you guys. Very flavorful. If you have a lot of these vegetables laying around the house from after the holidays, you may be able to kind of pull this together. So we're going to be making my rendition of brown stew chicken. It is a famous Jamaican dish. People love it. A lot of the same flavors that go into your oxtails, your jerk chicken. This is very reminiscent of that. So let's get into it. Let's go over some of the ingredients. I have a really big station right here. So I'm just going to pull things in front just to show you guys what we're going to be using. Okay. This is my stove back here. So I have some of it already made because it's a process to make this dish. If you have a Instapot at home or a crock pot, a Dutch oven will be a really good way to reduce the cooking time on this. It cooks for about an hour and a half to maybe about 2 hours, just depending on, what parts of the chicken that you use. The dish traditionally calls to use chicken with skin on it. I know a lot of people, especially myself, I don't really like chicken skin in stews and, vegetables like that. So I tend to use it for flavor, and then I may discard of the skin once it starts cooking down. So when I made this the last time, I used chicken breast that we're going to use today. This is bone in and has skin on. And then I also use some chicken thigh. Now with the chicken thigh, I just use the boneless, skinless. The bone from the chicken breast is going to give you a lot of flavor, so you don't have to use boneless throughout all the parts. I don't think a good piece to use would be like a drumstick or a wing. It has a lot of bones in it, and since this is going to be stewed and broken down, I just think a better choice would be a chicken breast or a thigh. So let's go over our vegetables that we're going to be using. So I have some petite carrots here, half a bag. My kids like to snack on these. So I always have these available. I have about 5 cloves of garlic, which you guys know I always cook with garlic. There is no meal without it. Well, maybe breakfast. And then I have like some peppers, okay? So some of these peppers I had from a little dessert tray that I made. Well, not dessert, a charcuterie plate. I had like some salami, some cheese, some peppers, and So I kept those. And then I have one greenish, I guess it's two-tone. It's green and orange bell pepper. And then I have one shallot. A shallot is basically a small red onion. It's just not as potent. It's really good to use in a mixture of garlic and oil. If you're having pastas at most of these restaurants and any kind of Asian dish, you're definitely going to have shallots present in it. So I'm going to even use an onion to off balance it. The shallot is going to be more so for the marinade that we're going to make for our chicken. You can choose to marinate this for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 12 hours. It's completely up to you. Obviously, if you let it marinate more, you're going to get more of that flavor. But I made this dish in a day. Like I literally, I marinated the chicken for about an hour, put it in the refrigerator, covered it, and then I took it back out and I started the process. And I really couldn't tell the difference in flavor. So you just want to make sure that you're seasoning very well. Which leads me, I forgot one of our number one seasonings for this dish. It's I just got it yesterday because I had ran out and I knew that we were going to be on camera today. So this is organic allspice. Allspice is very common in Caribbean dishes, Jamaican dishes, Indian dishes. It's one of those really deep flavors, kind of like curry. So we're going to be using that as well, okay? So we have some fresh thyme here. We also have some bay leaf, which is really important. Okay, so some dry bay leaves in here. We also have some brown sugar that's going to give us a little bit of sweetness to our marinade. And these are very hot. These are habanero peppers. So if you're not used to cooking with these, please be aware that these things are extremely hot, okay? So this is what it looks like. They usually call them Scotch bonnets if you don't see habanero. So if you're in your local grocery store and you don't see habanero, but you see this little orange bill, maybe a Scotch bonnet, same thing. Be very careful when you're cooking with this. If you're not a person that's really used to spice, you may want to pull back on this a little bit and maybe just cut the top off and let it steep inside the stew. The recipe does call for one of these minced down for the marinade. So it's completely up to you. If you think that's too hot of a pepper for you to use for your family, you can definitely substitute with crushed red pepper or maybe serrano chilies, okay? All right, so let's get into it. So like I said, I already have this cooked down because I wanted to show you guys how the finished product will be. Being that we don't have so much time. It smells really, really good. So I'm not going to show you guys that yet because that's the magic. So let's get into this marinade, which is the first part of the process, okay? So with the marinade, we're going to reserve our vegetables, okay, as far as our onion and our little chili peppers. And we're just going to work with right now our thyme, our Scotch bonnet, our garlic, and our shallots, okay? Now, got one more thing, guys. Now, if you guys don't have any Maggi seasoning, you can definitely use soy sauce as a substitute. Maggi seasoning it's really good. It improves the taste of things. I definitely don't cook with it a lot, excuse me, only because it's high in sodium. So you just want to make sure that you're being very mindful about that. We're going to add literally like a teaspoon or tablespoon, depending on how much, say with this chicken, about a pound of chicken, you can add a tablespoon. You just want to make sure that it's getting coated on your protein, but you don't want to excessively use a lot of it, okay? We also have some vinegar here. Vinegar is really good when you're making any kind of meat that's stewed. The vinegar adds to the cooking process and it breaks the proteins down quicker. So I know my grandma, she puts vinegar on everything. She's on her greens. But I will say that it is, especially apple cider vinegar, it's a really, really good detox for your stomach on a daily. I take Goli pills or Golly. I don't even know how to pronounce it. I know it's spelled Goli, so it's Goli, Golly, Gully, whatever. But I do take their apple cider vinegar gummies. They're really, really good. My kids take them. They taste just like a really good gummy bear, but it's really good to help, with the bloatness and cutting down the acid in your stomach, just to keep that in mind. Okay, so let's get into this, guys. I have this container right here. I'm gonna go ahead and clean my chicken off really well in this container, and then we're gonna pat it dry, and we're gonna add all of the marinade mix right on top, okay? Bear with me, people, I am here. I know I have. All right, guys, sorry about that. So you will be needing about 3 to 4 small red tomatoes. These are Romas. You can use crushed crushed tomatoes in a can if you want. I think that the flavor just comes out a lot better when you use the fresh. Some recipes call for ketchup. I mean, whatever you get your tomato from, whether it's paste, ketchup, sauce. Like I said, the fresh tomatoes they just break down a little bit better and they give you more of the gravy, okay? And I have some green onions. These are really important too for the marinade, okay? So like I said, this is separated from what's going inside the actual dish and what's gonna be in our marinade. So I'm gonna go ahead and start cleaning this chicken up, okay? I'm gonna use my sink right here on cold. I'm gonna add a little bit of vinegar just to make sure I'm really cleaning it well. If you guys don't do that at home, you guys may wanna try this out. It just gets the chicken, it gives it that like nice little like clean sound when you rub the skin. Just make sure you're getting all that salmonella off, okay? I am cleaning my chicken. I'm going to use this container. I'm going to pour a little bit of vinegar on top. Put the vinegar back over here because I'm going to use it for my recipe. And just get your chicken nice and clean. You want to always make sure you're using cold water. Okay. Pick it up, you know, just kind of get in between those pieces. Okay. All right. And then get all that excess water out. Okay. So one thing you guys want to be mindful about when you are cooking any type of protein, especially if it's not going to be like a wet marinade and you're not going to be braising it, you want to make sure you dry it, okay? Because nothing sears with that moisture barrier. I know we've gone over that before in our other classes. When you are searing something, it is literally dry heat. And what I mean by that is you want to make sure your protein is dry so that there's no moisture barrier between the flame, the oil, and the protein, because that's just going to steam your meat and you're going to be searing it forever. Like, why is it still not charred? So you want to make sure that you're cleaning it very well. Okay. All right. So I got this nice and pat dry. Now with any chicken or any protein that you're marinating, we're going to give it a little bit of EVOO, which is extra virgin olive oil. Okay. Now with the chicken breasts, they are big pieces, right? As you can see, nice chunky pieces. However, this is going to be stewed, right? So when something is being stewed, it's being braised in a liquid, and that is how it's going to cook and cook down. So if you have a whole chicken breast, don't fret. You don't have to cut it up, because as you're braising it, the cooking process will break that down. It'll probably shred it. Okay. All right. So now that we have our chicken nice and oiled and dry, let's go ahead and start chopping down our vegetables for the marinade. So the first thing that we're going to work with is our garlic. We're going to cut off these nasty ends. Sometimes they're soft enough and you're able to, you know, do what you need to do. Okay. So I'm just going to mince this up really well, like I do every other week when we're making with the garlic. Okay, so we continue to mince this garlic down. Oh, sorry about that. I forgot one major key, guys. Major. So let me grab that. Sorry about that, guys. We need some ginger. And I have fresh ginger. All right, guys, sorry about that. So you will be needing some fresh or ground ginger for this as well. This is a ginger root. We're definitely not going to use all of that. Maybe just like literally a quarter of it. Ginger is very, very potent. So be mindful of that. But it's definitely used in a lot of Caribbean cooking. It just adds flavor. It's one thing I do like about Jamaican food and Caribbean food. It gets these ordinary like tastes, right? Like you get salty, you get savory, you get spice, you know, but it's very well balanced. And they use a lot of fresh vegetables. I'm going to show you guys a dish that one of my great friends, she used to date this guy on the East Coast. And when we were like in our 20s, he would come out here and he would bring his friend and they would always cook for us, which I thought was, you know, foreign because a lot of men out here, they don't really cook. But these guys were from New York, by the way, of Germany. Really nice guys. Anyways, they made this shrimp dish. He's Jamaican. He made this really good shrimp dish. And when I tell you it was so simple, it was literally like the Scotch bonnet, because they use this a lot. Onions, red pepper, green pepper, red bell pepper, a little bit of thyme, and I think he used, what did he use? I think it was lemon juice. I'm really trying to remember, and it was just over rice, guys. When I tell you, it was so good. I'll never forget that dish. Okay, so anyways, we're mincing this down. We're gonna add this directly on top of this chicken, okay? Just add it in there. Add that in there. So I got dye on my hands, guys. I've been washing it. My daughter busted the pen open, so it's like, but they're clean. Okay, so we're just gonna shave off the skin on our ginger root. Be mindful, because these are expensive. So you just wanna kind of lightly shave it. You can do it with a peeler, but honestly, because the way of the shape, it's gonna be like even more of a headache. So you might as well just like, you know, chop it down. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna discard of this skin, because like, why? Okay. And then we're just gonna mince this down, okay? We're gonna like, see, this is about the size of it. After I chopped it down, I'm gonna take a quarter of that, and I am going to mince this down really well. We wanna mince it just the same size as that garlic, because you do not wanna bite into a large piece of ginger. Like I said before, it is very potent, and I don't think you're gonna like it very much. All right. So my brother, he makes like all these different teas and like remedies and stuff. So when he's here, he always has like a lot of ginger available. So I just took some hazy. All right, so put that ginger in there. Now we're gonna get some of this fresh thyme, okay? So I don't have a lot of thyme because I made gumbo, I made this, I made jambalaya, I made everything that required me to use thyme. But I'm gonna pull some of these sprigs off, okay? And we're gonna use it. So I'm pretty sure I've made something with thyme for you guys. I honestly like the leaves, and I like this, the root of it, because I feel like it gives flavor to the dish. I just fish it out at the end. My husband was complaining the other day. He's like, "Man, you got all these twigs in here from the earth." All right, so it's gonna get all these little leaves off. Okay, we're improvising, people. You know, you don't always have to run out and buy something. You know, some things you can kind of substitute or, you know, make away. And this is something that's motivated me to do an herb garden this year, because I keep on saying that, you know, I cook all the time, duh, but I don't have like fresh herbs available to me, and I should. So I'm gonna really, see, I have this little bay window right here. I'm gonna make use of it this year. I'm gonna do my own herbs. Okay, so we're done with that. And you know, just because we don't have a lot of fresh thyme, I have some powder thyme. We're just gonna add a little bit in there. All right, it's a little shiggity shake. All right, so maybe about a half a teaspoon if you're at home and you don't have any fresh thyme. You can go ahead and add a half a teaspoon of ground thyme, not a problem. All right, now we're gonna get into the scallion. This is a pretty large scallion. We have 2 pieces of chicken, so we're gonna cut this in half. We don't need that whole thing. Let's reserve some for another dish. And we're literally going to chop this down just like we did the ginger and the garlic. All right, and you just wanna mince this. You know, just kind of turn it with your knife. Make sure you're getting through all the large pieces. Yes. So we are getting this marinade done. Okay. Right. So that's going to go directly in as well. Now I'm going to save this habanero for last because, like I said, as soon as you finish using it, you need to wash your hands. These are some green onions. We're going to use the bottom half for the marinade, and we're going to use the top half of the green onions for our finished dish, okay? So I'm just going to line them up, and where you start to see that color changing from the dark green to the light green, I'm going to reserve this, and then I'm going to just chop these scallions down. Now, another way you can do this marinade and keep it in a jar, like when I do my jerk chicken marinade, This is very reminiscent to the same stuff that goes in it. I just put it in a blender, okay, because you have to add lime juice to that. So it, it's a little bit more liquid. So you can add all these ingredients into your blender, turn it on high, start adding your olive oil and your lime juice at the same time for a nice emulsification. And you'll be able to do your marinade like that as well, okay? Excuse me, just to put that out there. Okay, so we have all of our things, okay? So now we are going to cut the Scotch bonnet. Like I said, immediately wash your hands. The other day when I was cooking with it, I thought that I don't even know what I was doing, but I did touch like the corner of my lip and it was on fire, okay? So just be mindful. And you definitely want to make sure that you're getting all the seeds out because the seeds hold the heat, okay? So I'm gonna just knock that seed out. See that? Very spicy, okay? And since we're only dealing with these 2 large chicken breasts today, I am just going to use half of this Scotch Bonnet. My kids might eat some. And I'm just gonna mince this down, just as thin and small as we did our garlic, our ginger, and our scallion, okay? So you guys know when you're adding vegetables or you're adding anything to a pot, you wanna make sure the cuts are as perpendicular as possible. With them being perpendicular, you know that they're all receiving kind of like the same cooking time and done time, okay? So that's what we're doing now. We're just making sure that they are minced down so they can accompany the rest of the vegetables well. And then we're gonna put that directly on top of our chicken. So far, guys, we have some olive oil. We have our garlic, our scallops. Ah, that's so funny. Our garlic, our shallots, our green onion, and our thyme, and our ginger, and a little bit of ground thyme, just because we didn't have enough of the fresh thyme. And so now we are going to start adding the rest of our seasoning, okay? So we're gonna take 2 capfuls of this vinegar, literally 2 capfuls, guys. And we're just going to put that on top because like I said, the vinegar aids in breaking down the protein, okay? And then we're also going to add about 3 tablespoons of the Maggi sauce or soy sauce substitution if you don't have the Maggi at home. I don't know why it's called Maggi. It makes me think about The Simpsons. I don't know. Let's just do 2 capfuls. This is a pretty big cap. This is about 1 tablespoon, okay, guys, if you're using measuring spoon. So far we have all of those things in here. And now we're gonna hit it with some seasoning because we still gotta season the chicken, guys. Still gotta season that chicken. So, sorry, something caught in my seasoning. All right. So I'm gonna use some paprika for color. We are going to use the blend. You guys know I really like this seasoning, but like it is a blend. You don't have to like specifically use this seasoning, but if you see this, it's like really blowing up. It's at every grocery store right now. Okay, Kinders. This is salt, pepper, and garlic, right? So there's no need to add any additional salt, no need to add any additional pepper or garlic because it's all in here. And this is a really good seasoning. I have about 4 different ones. I have the seafood blend. I have the taco one. I think this one is the wood fire garlic. Yeah, this one is really good as well. Oh no, this is the taco blend. This one is really good. This is the wood fire garlic. My husband uses this a lot on the grill. As you can see, it's like nothing in there. But just to show you guys, they have really good rubs. They're not too expensive. I think they're very feasible around the McCormick and Schmick price. If you guys are used to buying any of those. Okay, so let's get to seasoning. Now, these are 2 large breasts. We always want to be mindful that we're not over seasoning because we want to taste the flavor, okay? So I would not go more than a tablespoon of each of these seasonings that we're getting ready to use, okay? So I'm gonna add in my the seasoning blend. This is the salt, the garlic, okay? Then we're gonna hit it with another tablespoon of some onion powder because onion powder just does well with chicken. It's one of those things, okay? And then we are going to hit it with the paprika, okay? Get all that paprika. Paprika is one of those things where it doesn't really add that much flavor, but it definitely gives depth of color. Okay, so if you're eating something red, you may psych yourself out like, oh, paprika, but it's not paprika. Okay. And then we're gonna hit it with just a little bit of Cajun blend because it gives it a nice little kick. Has a little bit of cayenne in there. And then this is the show stopper. Okay, this is your ground allspice. Now, honestly, guys, this is organic. It was very expensive. I bought this one from Bonds. I paid like almost $5, which I mean, for me, like that's expensive for seasoning. I don't like to spend that much on seasoning unless it's like this size and above. Don't get me wrong, this is not used in a whole lot of dishes. So if you do buy it, it probably will last in your cabinet for a minute. But just for future reference, if you're able to go by like a small Hispanic market, Superior, El Super, they have like I have it right here. This is Medieval. They have a lot of seasonings that are very inexpensive. This was literally 89 cents, not even $1. Okay, so I'm pretty sure you can find ground allspice there. It may not be organic, but okay. So we're gonna take about 1 tablespoon of the allspice, and we are going to put this all over our chicken. This is gonna build your flavor, your Caribbean flavor. And then we are just gonna give it 1 crush of kosher, okay? Because those are pretty big pieces of chicken. And when you start to sear your meat off, you'll see that you lose about 20% of your seasoning. So after I do that, I usually will hit it with like just a little bit more of the allspice. You know, if I see some of the color of the meat, like not looking too, not looking right, I will do that, okay? So we want this to get mixed in very well. So this marinade is not supposed to be like juicy, okay? It's not supposed to be watery, okay? Because we're gonna be adding a whole quart of chicken stock to our braising liquid. So that's where you're gonna get most of your liquid for your stew, as well as your carrots have a lot of water and your tomatoes have plenty of water. All right, so we're gonna let this sit in the refrigerator for a couple minutes or to the side while we finish cutting up our vegetables that are gonna be going inside the actual stew. I'm gonna move my habanero off. I'm gonna wash my hands just in case I touch my base or touch something that may touch my base. I don't wanna get burned. Give those a nice quick rinse. I'm gonna water my aloe vera plant because I just looked at it. You guys keep aloe vera at home? I do. It's really good for the skin. I use it like my kids always falling, bumping and bruising. So I do use it a lot there. I do use it in my hair too. It's really good when I wash my hair, get the temples, a nice little wash. Just throw it out there. Okay. All right. So let's discard some of this trash. Now, we are going to start chopping up these vegetables, all right? Let's start with this onion. You guys should be pros at chopping the onion now. You learn from the best. Okay, so let's peel the onion, get rid of that. All right, I'm going to grab me a little container in here just so I can have some things structured. All right, guys. All right. So we're just gonna dice this up just like we do any other week. We're gonna go down vertically. Okay. And you want this to be a brunoise. If you guys can remember, brunoise is an 1/8 of a dice. Okay, so it's literally 1/8 of an inch. It's a very small dice. All right. Then we're gonna go in horizontally all the way up to the top so that we're able to get us a nice dice. Okay. So we're gonna use about half of this. We only got 2 pieces of chicken. But if you're cooking more than that, you can definitely use this whole half of onion. Okay. Perfect. So I'm gonna put that to the side. I'm gonna make sure that these are all chopped nice and perpendicular. All right. And we're gonna just put this right into this bowl. All right. Whoop. Right into the bowl. Perfect. All right. Now, let's start with these peppers. Gonna cut off this end. Now, you know, if you want, I do sometimes, depending on like the yield that I have, I will cut around this and take this little butt out, and I'll still use the sides and cut the middle, cut our seeds out. We've been cutting some peppers in this class for a while, so I'm pretty sure you guys can follow along on this. Same thing with this side. Oh, those onions are strong. I'm gonna move them. So I'll start crying, guys. Okay, let's knock the seeds out. Okay. And then we are going to also dice this, okay? Because we want things to be perpendicular. Okay. Get that. And I like it, you know, it's a beautiful color. These the orange and the green together. Now with your smaller ones, we're just gonna chop it off, do the same thing. Slice it down the middle, get those seeds out, take the veins out. All right, and we're just gonna give this a nice little rough chop because those are smaller. You know, we're just trying to not waste any of our vegetables that we have in the refrigerator. All right. You guys, you have to forgive me. I forgot one thing with our marinade. We need a tablespoon of brown sugar. So go ahead and add that to the chicken. Sometimes, you know, I'm sorry, guys. A lot of steps. I apologize. I'm just going to work this in. The sugar is very important with this dish. Let me just work this in. So the sugar not only adds sweetness to the dish, but it's also our thickener, because what we're going to do first is we're going to caramelize the onions with some of that brown sugar. So it's going to be the base of our sauce, okay? Now, I've cooked this a couple of times where I did not really go over the measurement of liquid to veggie, and I've had to thicken it up. And I've taught you guys how to thicken up sauces. So you would use cornstarch, or you could make what we call a roux. I made a really good roux this past holiday for my gumbo. You can do a blonde roux. There's different kinds. A blonde roux is kind of like your first stage of making a roux. So when you add that in there, that's usually what you use for your base of your velouté or your bechamel. Those are sauces. But like I said, I just want you guys to be mindful of, you know, being able to thicken it up if it's not to your liking. This should not be soupy. It should definitely be what is called a stew, okay? And it should have a nice coating on the back of the spoon. That term is called nappe in school, N-A-P-P-E, and it's basically in French, it means to coat the spoon, okay? That's really what a sauce is. It's not supposed to be extra thick, because that's more of like, you know, like a cheese sauce or a custard. But with your normal sauces for your protein, for your plate, it should be a nice consistency, not too runny, but not too thick, okay? And I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So, this dish, you could definitely serve it with brown rice, white rice, potatoes, or you can just do it over a bed of greens. We are going to do rice today. Well, if you want, you could use brown rice. That's what I have in stock here today. But yes, if you have brown rice, white rice, or white potatoes, red potatoes, whatever you would like to use, okay? But this dish already has all your, your vegetables in there. So, yeah. So I'm just getting all the veins out, trying to get all these peppers cut. This is a tedious part of the meal. This is the time-consuming part, cutting up all the veggies. We got the hard part now, which is marinating the chicken. But you definitely want to make sure you have a good rough chop on all your peppers, right? Nice colors. One more to go. Okay. All right. Perfect. So like I was saying before, if you have canned tomatoes or any other tomatoes, ketchup, wouldn't use the ketchup, but that's all you got, you can use it. Use about a tablespoon of ketchup, it'll do the job. I'm gonna use these tomatoes because I like them. And I just like the freshness of them. And then plus, like I said, it gives body to it because it has a lot of water in it, okay? So these do not go in at the same time. Sorry about that, guys. They don't go in at the same time. The tomatoes will be going in at the very end with the carrots, okay? So we're just gonna chop them down and have them reserved to the side. They should be about the size of an eighth of a dice, like Roux. Just chop them down because they're gonna break down in the sauce, so it doesn't have to be extra pretty, but you still wanna make sure that they're similar in size because that has to do with the cooking process. I'm just gonna keep on cutting these down. Nice little Roma tomatoes. Last one. And if you guys have the butts, I do cut the butts down. I don't like to waste any of the food. Okay, can all be used. Make sure we're chopping that down. Right. Now we're gonna save the green onions for last because it's our garnish. Okay, not anything spectacular with that. We already added the flavor for it to our marinade. All right, so now we have this reserved. This is trash. I'm gonna get it off here. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Now you have your peppers. We got our onions over here, and we have our tomatoes. Now we're gonna start building our stew, okay? So I'm gonna turn my fire on high. On extra high. And we're gonna add some EVOO, right? Because we wanna make sure that we got some fat in here to sear our chicken in. So like I stated before, guys, this is something that takes about an hour and a half to cook. So I already have some finished for you guys so you can see what the finished product looks like. Okay. Right? So as this is heating up, I'm going to show you guys how we're going to sear this chicken and we're going to build. We're going to build our stew. If you have a Dutch oven at home, I would definitely recommend using that. I use my crock pot. It has all different types of functions on it. This is the bottom of it. And I usually put it on sear just so I can get that, you know, if I'm not using the stove. And I build it in here. And then I put it in my Instant Pot. So I'm going to show you guys how I do that. All right. So you want to make sure that your pan is coated all the way around. And then you guys want to make sure that this fire gets extremely hot, okay? Extremely. And when I say that, I mean, you want to see some smoke signals. You want to see some of the smoke coming up from the pan. You want to make sure that it is ready, okay? All right. So this is my finished product. I'm going to show you guys once we finish building. I didn't have any rice made. Sorry, guys. The brown rice takes a long time, but this dish can definitely be accompanied with brown rice. When you guys receive the meal, you will have rice with it. Okay. All right. So we're just getting ready. Now, I want you guys to take time and measure out one more teaspoon of your brown sugar because we're, like I said, we're gonna add that to our onions so they can get caramelized. So I have that right here, all ready to go. Just waiting for my pan to heat up. You know, when I drop it, I want to hear the sound, okay? All right. So I hope you guys had a great break. I did. I got to enjoy my little Cookie Monsters for a couple weeks. I have 3 of those, by the way. But everything was great except the rainy weather. Kind of took us by storm because they couldn't go outside and really play with anything. So it was so cold. But I hope you guys are all well. Your families are all in good health with all of this stuff going on with the virus. You guys, please take care of yourself, your immune system. Make sure you guys are drinking tea daily, having your shot of vitamin C, making sure you guys are definitely taking some elderberry as a great dietary supplement to help, you know, fight off all those bad antibodies and viruses. So just, you know, giving you guys a little word of life. Just make sure you guys are taking care of yourself, okay? All right, so this oil looks just about done. Grab my chicken. Now, if you're making this in a larger amount, let's say you have like a whole pack of chicken breast in here and your thighs, and you got everything all seasoned up. Well, you will have more marinade. So when you're getting ready to sear this, you kind of want to knock off some of the big chunks of the veggies, okay? So you're just working with the skin. Let me show you guys up close and personal. Okay, so you want to just kind of knock off some of those big pieces of green onion. Now I can smell my pan, my oil. I'm going to sit this skin down to sear. You hear that? All right. And here I'm going to knock off all of that. But we're going to use the reserved marinade, so don't fret my pet. Everything's getting used from the root to the fruit. Right? So you guys can hear that, right? So the point of it being brown stew chicken is gonna get its brownness from the ketchup, obviously, your chicken stock and all those good things, and your brown sugar. But you also want to make sure that this skin is seared, okay? So let that cook down for a second. Right. Smelling good, smelling good. I was just trying to show you guys the substitution. Sorry about that. I have it in my cabinet. Okay, so I'm going to be using, like I said, chicken broth. We're using only 2 pieces of meat, so I don't need that much. If you're cooking about a pound or over a pound, you're going to need about a quart and maybe a can, okay? So this is the canned chicken stock, Swanson, my favorite. You know, I tried some other brands over the break because I had gone to Winco and I was trying to get stuff for my gumbo, and they ran out of Swanson and I had to get the store brand. And let me tell you guys, it was terrible. So Swanson is my favorite. And then these are fresh tomatoes. If you do not have fresh tomatoes to use, you are more than welcome to use this. You need about 16 ounces. This is 15. So this is suffice. Okay. So you want to make sure that your chicken is brown on both sides. So we're going to let that keep searing a little longer. We're going to use the same pan and the fat in that pan to sear our vegetables before it goes into the crock pot. Okay, that part is very, very important. One thing I don't like, even when I'm making greens or whatever, I always sear or saute my vegetables. Like I never just throw in any raw vegetables into just liquid. You know, even if I'm doing a soup, I feel like flavors build. So if you're roasting, if you're sauteing, if you're frying, all of those things accompany the actual product. So I like to make sure I'm breaking it down a little bit before it goes into something. All right, so that's a nice color here. I'm gonna bring it over here so you guys can see. All right, perfect. Nice and crusted. All right, so we're gonna sear the other side. And then we're gonna remove our chicken breast back into the marinade. It's all good. We're gonna put this all into our crock pot anyway. I'm gonna go ahead and open up my chicken broth. Right? Right, so my chicken broth is ready to go. Now let's check on this chicken, maybe like half a minute on this side. Nice. Nice. Okay, so let's remove our chicken, put it back in this marinade container. We are gonna go in with our onions directly in, okay? We're gonna go in with our peppers. Whoop, whoop. Directly in. Whoa, yum, yum, yum. All right, now we are gonna give it a little bit of kosher salt. It's always good to season at every level, okay? And then we are going to mix this around into that fat, get all that stuff up. I know we talked about soup, which is spelled S-U-C. It is all of the remnants at the bottom of the pan. So after you sear something, you have all that black cookie stuff. That's good flavor, people. Do not throw that out. You can deglaze it with water. You can deglaze it with wine, vinegar, what have you, but use that good flavor. Woo! Well, got my eye. All right, guys. So now we're gonna add in our teaspoon of brown sugar. All right. So what this is gonna do, like any type of sugar does, when heat, it caramelizes, right? So we are going to caramelize these veggies. Okay, caramelization station. Yummy, yummy, and my son. All right. So once you have it all coated, you'll start to see that your veggies are turning brown, which is a good thing. Okay. So now that I have my crock pot, I'm going to put my chicken and all the rest of the marinade directly into my crock pot. This chicken is not cooked all the way. We are just having it seared off. But all of this good flavor, right here, we're gonna put it right in that pot, okay? Into the pot of flour. Okay. That is complete. I am going to add in my carrots because I like my carrots a little bit char on, okay? All right. And those are baby carrots. They're gonna break down in the stew, so you can just add them in like so. Give that a nice little mix. Yeah. Smells so good. Right? Now, once that is nice and accompanied, we are going to add this mixture. Let me show you guys up close. Got your carrots, got your onion, all of that good stuff, okay? I'm gonna directly add this into our pot. Ooh, let's make a mess now, Maxie. And I'm just not my flow. All right, guys. All right, guys. So once we are done with that step, we are going to go in with our diced tomatoes directly on top, okay? We're gonna put 2 bay leaves in here. Have put time for some bay. You know, the bay leaves give a lot of flavor. Okay? And then we're gonna go in with our chicken broth. And we want that to cover our meat. Okay? We want it to cover. All right. Now, guys, I'm gonna put a little sprinkle of allspice. Just a little bit. And swish it around. Okay. Let me show you guys. So this is how your stew should look in the beginning. You should have everything in there. You want that all covered with that liquid. We are going to braise this for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And then it's gonna come out looking like, oh, wait a minute, I gotta cut my garnish. Because I like green onion on mine. And like I said, this has rice at the bottom. Didn't have any, sorry about that, guys. This is high, right? Grab a dish. Just in time for my lunch. Now this is what I call, well, you know, I'm not Jamaican, but I've had my share of Jamaican food. And I know good brown stew chicken when I eat it. All right. And like I said, I put my green onions on top. And I want to show you guys how good my pressure cooker is. I warmed it up on the stove for you guys, but I made it yesterday. And it really, like the chicken is so tender. Look at that. So that is brown stew chicken. Amazing. It's sweet, it's savory, has a great balance. And if you're like carb free, you don't even have to add the rice. You can eat like a little bowl of soup. And look at how it's just coming off of that. All right, guys. Well, hope you enjoyed my video today. Happy New Year. Great to be back. And we'll see you guys soon.